My sister demands that I postpone my wedding because it would overshadow hers. She goes berserk when I refuse, and she has to cancel because she has no groom anymore. Plus all updates. I'm getting married to my fiancé, Raj, in a couple of months. We are having a traditional, lavish Indian wedding, which has been a dream of mine since childhood. I grew up in a mixed household. My father is Hindu and my mother is Christian. While we celebrated both religions growing up, I've always felt more connected to my father's Hindu traditions. My sister, Sarah, is also getting married around the same time. She identifies more with our mother's Christian faith and is planning a traditional Christian wedding. Recently, Sarah approached me, expressing concerns that our weddings being close together might overshadow hers, especially since mine is more extravagant and involves multiple days of celebration. Sarah asked if I could either tone down my wedding, consider postponing it, or even make it a fully Christian ceremony to balance things out. She believes that having two weddings so close together, with one being significantly grander, would take attention away from hers and create unnecessary stress for our family, who will have to juggle both events. I told her that I understand her concerns, but I've been planning this wedding for over a year, and it means a lot to me to have it the way I've always imagined. I also pointed out that our cultural backgrounds are different, and both weddings will be special in their own ways. Additionally, postponing my wedding would be a huge inconvenience and financial burden for us, given the extensive preparations and bookings already in place. Our wedding dates are 3 weeks apart. We have separate guest lists, but there is some overlap with close family and mutual friends. My mother is siding with Sarah and believes I should change my wedding to a fully Christian ceremony or at least incorporate significant Christian elements. My father, on the other hand, supports my decision and believes that both of us should have the weddings we want. Sarah was very upset and accused me of being selfish and not caring about her feelings. She thinks I'm prioritizing my wedding over our family's well-being. My mother has started going overboard, constantly criticizing my decision and even threatening not to attend my wedding unless I change it to a Christian ceremony. She's been calling extended family members to persuade them to side with Sarah and boycott my wedding if I don't comply. Now, I'm feeling torn. I don't want to hurt my sister or cause any family rift, but I also don't want to sacrifice my dream wedding. Also, I'm not in her bridal party or any other things but her wedding as I have mine. Also, I inherited a lot from my father as he was Hindu and he gave it to me as I was as well. I gave my sister 40% of what he gave me and no one is helping with wedding costs. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that I won't change my wedding? Update: so I went to try and talk to my sister but she didn't let me in unless I told her I would have a Christian ceremony. I declined and left. My mum called me later on telling me I am a piece of SHT for ruining my sister's big day. Honestly, I would have had my wedding months ago but when a priest checked my and my fiancé's horoscope we did not have a date until a year later. I have talked to all my vendors and though they don't do password protection they agreed to it. Later on, I found out my mum wanted to change my bridal lehenga and my party decor. Luckily they didn't let her. Also, my wedding had all of our distant relatives as well as close family. Wedding my side alone had 1734 people together. We had a guest list of 3,600. My sister tried to get everyone but she didn't try and coordinate that much. She just sent the invite and told people to spread the word. All my guests are being accommodated by me and my in-laws. My inheritance included a huge castle mansion sort of thing which has 100 rooms. I know it's large but it is really old, and the rest have been booked into resorts by me and my in-laws. Update 2. After all the drama with my sister and mother, I decided to go to the bridal shop to make some changes to my wedding attire. Initially, I had booked a white lehenga due to pressure from my mom, but I wanted to change it to a traditional red one. I went to the shop with my future mother-in-law and sister-in-law to make the changes. While we were at the shop, my mother and sister showed up unexpectedly. My mother started creating a scene, calling me ungrateful and disrespectful for changing the lehenga color. Sarah, seeing the red lehenga, lost her temper. She tried to persuade the shop assistant to switch it back to the white one, but when that didn't work, she completely lost control. A few days later, Sarah went back to the shop alone and demanded they change my red lehenga to white. When the shop assistant refused, Sarah went berserk. She grabbed a bottle of dye and started spilling it over all the lehengas in the shop, screaming that if she couldn't have her way, no one else would. The shop staff called the police, and when they arrived, Sarah threatened them, saying she would make sure they regretted arresting her. Sarah was taken into custody for property damage and threatening a police officer. Her boyfriend then contacted me, demanding that I pay for her bail and give up my wedding, saying that all this happened because of me. I refused, standing my ground that I shouldn't have to sacrifice my plans or finances for her irrational behavior. As a result, Sarah had to cancel her wedding and sell their car to cover the bail money. Her boyfriend, unable to handle the drama and financial strain, broke up with her.